at the threshold of a new era, one defined by a rapid technological transformation and advancement, which also gives the way to a digital transformation. The whole eyes of the world are looking now at the AI, the technology, and lots more. I'm so delighted now to be accompanied in the studio by Dr. Wael Badawy, the Professor of Artificial Intelligence. Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening.
Well, of course, Doctor, you know, and now you see how rapid it is when it comes to the development of this sector, AI, technology, cybersecurity, whatever it is, there is a digital transformation is going on into this process, or there's artificial intelligence that is being used, whether in researches or even in policy decisions. So how rapid is this quite gaining when it comes to different part of the world, and especially Egypt, because we are witnessing a rapid development when it comes to this sector here in Egypt?
Artificial intelligence and digital transformation have been dynamically growing over the last maybe 2 years. And we now understand there's at least 70 countries have been either have an AI strategies or they join an international effort to have an AI strategies. What we understand is by 2030 there is about 14.4 or 15 trillion dollar, what will be generated through the work of AI. What we are looking for is a full collaboration, because almost every nation right now, out of the 70 nations, they do have a strategy, they do have development. A strategy means you have fund, you have programs for training, you have startup companies, you have development. That is what you mean with rapid growth, or that's why we see lots of programs and lots of products right now in the area of AI.
Well, since we are witnessing this rapid development, of course, the latest event is that His Excellency President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi participating in the G7 country summit that has been held in Evian, France, speaking about different topics, top to the agenda, of course, not to mention the Middle East crisis, but on top of that, he did attend the session, which was held for only this purpose to flourish more in this sector, whether here in Egypt or to get engaged even in the international arena.
Yes, and indeed Egypt is a pivot in this technology, because as you understand, and we talked before, you have lots of cables coming through the Egyptian land, lots of marine cables carrying this technology, carrying data, carrying information across. Also, we are concerned because there are some reports which says that you have at least 40% of the jobs will be impacted by AI. So I believe almost all nations in the new era are looking for how this 40% will affect them and how they will prepare their people to work in AI jobs or in AI modified jobs. So with all these international reports, we understand that our President Fattah el-Sisi bless him, he is on the cusp, and he's always forthcoming when it comes to our technology, and we see this lots in the vision of 2030, in all of the initiatives we have for the government data centers, even with the new initiatives we have to make private companies creating data centers and have approved the plans, and there's a couple of announcements this week. So we in Egypt, in my understanding, we are watching that this could be a vehicle for us to contribute to the global GDP.
Well, of course, the GDP is including when it comes to artificial intelligence, and that's now very official in Egypt, because we are digitalizing also mostly all the institutions that we have, or the governmental institutions. It's also participating in the governance of different countries. But we need to shed more light on this, what you just spoke about, when it comes to, is it safe, how people is going to deal in the future with the AI and all of that. What is the difference between the agentic AI and the natural AI?
There is nothing called natural AI. There is a classical AI.
Classical
AI. So in the AI era, we have the classical AI, or what the machine, it's mainly machine learning. Then we have the generative AI, which basically is the machine will generate new content, and out of the new content we can create what we call it agentic AI. And the agentic AI is basically develop an agent, and this agent will command another agent, which is another AI piece, and gives us exactly how it proceeds. So this agentic AI, it's a series of artificial intelligence systems Each subsystem will be responsible for a role, and you can use it for assisting. So for example, easy example, if someone will go to your page and request some information about specific products, then the agentic AI can engage, can ask you more questions, more clarification, and for each one of these, you can basically generate another agent who can look for information and come back. The other application for agentic AI is when you ask complex questions. And this is where you have it becomes serious, because I can run a complex inquiry and the AI will generate multiple agents, and this agent will go and fetch the data, and then it will assemble them as one feedback or one result. This is actually a superior use for the AI. So agentic AI is one of the technologies which will transform the concept of the AI. People are saying that agentic AI is closer to super intelligent. However, it's a parallel multi-agent. Each one will have its own process to create information based on generative AI operation.
So this is very advanced. It's getting more advanced every day. Let's say there's a rapid development when it comes to that.
It's a very rapid development, and the expectation of reaching about 14.4 of the international or the global GDP comes from AI tools. It's a serious number. I believe in Egypt we are hoping to be in the 7.7% of our GDP by 2030. So when you look at almost 15% of the international GDP comes only from AI, it has to be serious. However, there are some difficulties, and one of the major issues is the projection of AI farms and the data centers will reach between 10 to 15% of the international power consumption. So you imagine you have 10% of your electricity is going towards the data center. And this is create another challenge and another barrier for how this technology will continue to grow. So with a moderate estimation, yes, there is lots of advantage. However, we expect many of them will disappear in a year or two because they cannot create whatever we call it return on investment or ROI. So people will not see. I believe still till today there is a serious issue about how you are recovering your investment. We don't talk in AI about the national and security application. We talk about the commercial application.
More of data analyzing?
More of data analyzing, the statistics, it's acceptable, it only consumes power, but humans or businesses are not interested in data. Government for decision making is interested for data. Government and political regimes will be looking for how to get the data, and we use this data and we create more data with all the new projects coming to Egypt, like the healthcare, like the job banks, and all of this kind of, and they have also a bank for qualification where everybody qualification will be made in a digital form, and then you have in each qualification how many talent is available. With all of these activities you have lots of data, but commercial companies are not seriously interested in data. They are in how to use this data, so they need to have AI farms, or what we call it as computer server running this artificial intelligence. And the projection says between 10 to 15% of global power consumption will be going towards these particular platforms. Is not going to enlight cities, is not going to new factories, it's going to data farms. And this might be the limit, that we cannot globally produce enough power to empower these particular technologies.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things that, of course, not just Egypt, but lots of countries around the world, they are working on grounding their infrastructure and getting more of mega projects when it comes to the capacity even of electricity and other natural gas and stuff like that. But of course, AI is also indulging with lots of sustainable development, green issues, economies, and everything. But speaking about the initiatives that Egypt launched, lots of initiatives actually. The latest, maybe 999 expertise now we call them. They've been graduated by this cooperation between the Ministry of Communication. and this how this rapidly developed. Now we are producing more of expertise, Egyptian expertise, working in the field, trying to get in contact also with the rapid development that is happening internationally.
In Egypt, we had a plan to generate 30,000 experts. And the 900 some you mentioned are the first phase of this 30,000 experts. So we have our own, there is programs in Egypt between the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology, between the Ministry of Higher Education, where we are polishing, or we are trying to provide a high-tech knowledge and exclusive knowledge in this artificial intelligence arena or domain. So we are the graduate of this 900 2 days ago with the Ministry of Information Technology and Communication was actually the first batch. Our graduate in the university I belong with too, and our graduate and many of the graduates right now, they are working remotely from Egypt. And I always recall we have individuals in cybersecurity working as teaching assistant, and all of a sudden they join major companies in Florida, and they are now working remotely from Egypt. However, they are on the force of Florida, because this kind of jobs you can do it remotely. You don't need to be in an office. As long as you have an internet access, it's good enough. And we understand also that the government plans to enhance the infrastructure of the internet, and we have so many programs to transform the internet to be fiber optics, and then we would like to get 5G in place, and we increase the capacity. All of these activities will get to endorse or to support that we are providing remote access jobs for our individuals. And in several discussions we start to discover that some of the third year and fourth year, the brilliant students, they don't come to classroom because they are already working in a remote companies overseas. So as I said, like this is our past. We had the vision in 2030. Egypt in 2019 opened the many AI universities, starting with the Kafr Sheikh University was the very first one. And now we have more than 68, I believe, universities, which carries a school of artificial intelligence. And this is the way we have been forecasting, and it's happening. It's happening, as you said, rapidly, more than what we expect.
So speaking about the artificial intelligence and the protection of data, information, cybersecurity, where we are, because also His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi emphasized on the importance of information, even the containing of other wrong information, let's say, which is on social media, on digital platforms, that is young generations are always exposed to. So speaking about that, because this is always been prompt in any meeting or any conference when it comes to the rapid development that we are witnessing.
It's very true that protecting information and the access to information, it's must have if you want to create reliable information. So protecting your data is very important and very key. And in Egypt we have what we call it CERT, which is under the National Authority for Telecommunication. And this authority will get, CERT is basically managing how to protect the data in the cyberspace. So they are running what we call it cyber security protocols, and they are the first responders. In Egypt we have lots of experience, because when we built, when we as Egyptian, not me, when the Egyptian built the new capital and they have the data centers, they built it with in mind that how to protect the operation from the internet. So we built two separate internet infrastructure, one dedicated toward data and the other one was for people to use as their leisure, the web. So cybersecurity is a key. Now, the other aspect of it is if you understand the value of cybersecurity for banking, for example, you imagine the SWIFT will be out. So if the SWIFT will be out for 5 minutes, it is a massive loss for the financial domain worldwide, because nobody will be able to transfer money. And you understand that majority of the financial institutions will make their revenue on the percentage of money as the fees of transfer. So we have to look. If you recall, I believe it was last Friday, when we had the issue with one of the social media. So there was a social media outage for a couple of hours or about 1 hour. So imagine that majority of us having social media stores, people are doing transactions, people are buying products online, and suddenly for 1 hour you don't have this kind of accessibility. It means that the percentage per hour is lost for these businesses. So the guarantee of operation and the security of this operation, it's a must, is not luxury. And this is one of the serious issues, and Egypt had making steps in how to make protections of the infrastructure, protection of the actual data, and protection of the continuation of the internet and the operations across of the nation.
Well, of course, this is very clear because also the Ministry of Interior, couple of days there was something also provoked on social media, and they did declare that people should be aware of what's happening on social media and all of that. So our government is always keen, not just the presidency, not just the Ministry of Interior, but all are entwining together for such a cause, because we have a blessing that we have a big number of young generation, probably more than half of the society. So we need to contain their minds, to guide them, to inspire them, and all of that. How is it right now, the mind of the young generation, since you're a professor of artificial intelligence? Now you are witnessing lots of projects. Where are their minds now? Because I bet they are dreaming very high, they're dreaming very big, and I think we exceeded our expectations.
Our young minds are brilliant because they use the internet to discover the new projects overseas and everywhere. And they come back and they try to implement it in the, we call it the project discussions this season, which is the year end of the 2 semesters. And they have lots of projects. Some of the projects we have been watching in different universities are very advanced, to the extent that many of our students will actually receive a first place in international competition in China, in USA, in UK, in Germany, because our young generations, the one who is really interested, is actually more advanced than the international domain. So the youth are blessed by having this accessibility. And also another aspect of the AI itself, that's AI, you don't need to have the infrastructure in your backyard. You can access remotely the infrastructure. So this immediately gives advantage that you don't need a very sophisticated system. All what you need is an internet access with the right bandwidth. And our government is providing this to many of us. So it's a good place to be able to build new solutions. And we have been watching. One of the most interesting applications I can share with you is we have an application for a social media, 100% voice driven. So there is no sharing of videos or images. It's basically people are talking to each other, the comment will be by each other, and because the youth will prefer to speak, not to type like us. So they found out that why we don't have just a social media where you have I think like a 30 seconds or 1 minute post, and then each comment will be like 5 to 10 seconds, and then they use the AI to filter out the bad words, the negative aspect, and then people will start to communicate by just voice. It was a very different, I tried it myself, it was a very different experience, because you believe that you feel like people are alive around you because you can hear their voices. It's not their faces, it's their voices.
Yeah, but this is very controversial for some people, because some people say that people can go crazy about depending on people around you, or just having a friend of artificial intelligence, or just asking people too much when it comes to you and a device, I mean.
And on Tuesday we had a session on what we call it AI fatigue. So from the amount of AI around you, people are starting now to study what is artificial intelligence fatigue. Exactly, if you remember, during the COVID epidemic, we had the online fatigue because everybody is talking online from their home. So people start to have the studies. So right now there are some studies which talk about the AI fatigue. Like you can always be online, you can always have information coming toward you. So people start to experience fatigue. And this was also discussed in a different way, because we start also to see some movement that youth generation will avoid smart screens. They will use phones, just a phone with push buttons. because they are got tired and they want to control their human attention away from the social media. So it's starting now to be a discussion, but it was a very interesting term I heard, like artificial intelligence fatigue. And I'm not sure if you have the same AI fatigue, but for me, I can tell you, like I'm using the AI more than 14 hours a day. This is the statistics.
That's massive.
Because
number of
right now
time.
we do everything on it. Right now you search on it. We stop searching on standard devices, on standard platforms. And even if you search on the standard platform, it will give you the AI result first. So people prefer to have an application, and on this application you start to search for information. And you are looking for some advice, you search for advice. You want some analysis of something, you upload it and analyze it. You want to produce an image or a photo. Even they say if you want to have if you get an email a link, and you want to make sure that this link is safe or not, copy the link before you click on it and put it in the AI and ask the AI if this link is safe, and the AI will tell you. So all the pushes around us is to talk to AI, not to interact with humans. So on a personal experience, I reach up to 14 hours per specific days, and as I said, like everybody now is using it. Like students will come to me and say, "Oh, I answered this question, but do you think the AI answer is right? Oh, so why do you come to me? You ask the AI." So it becomes part of our life, and it's amazing how it become embedded. Because if you remember, we talked first about the very first generative AI, which used to be ChatGPT, was November 2022. So we are less than 4 years.
Yeah.
And now it becomes part of 80%, like they project that 80% of Egyptians are online every minute. And
Wow.
they are using AI. So it's a new lifestyle.
And people doesn't know that it's not just about a new lifestyle, a style, and opening your eyes to the whole world, connecting and all of that, but also speaking about the sustainable development using the AI, because lots of people doesn't know that it is indulged in green projects, in sustainable development, in infrastructure, in new mega projects that our presidency also is keen to implement the AI and artificial intelligence and all of that. Lots of summits and conferences being held here in Egypt from now on then, speaking about that and exchanging expertise with different parts of the world.
And using it, we use it everywhere. So now we have automatic translators. So you don't have a problem coming to an online platform and suddenly you don't speak the language, because the language can get translated, will get transcribed. And you get the script before the end of the meeting. It's crazy how it was embedded in almost everywhere. The other thing about it is when we look at large number of data, you cannot analyze it without AI. So when you talk about the healthcare, for example, the digital healthcare initiatives, when you have hundreds of million portfolio for 100 million Egyptians on a single healthcare platform, who can look for data? Nobody. It's an AI analytics.
Now we use the agentic AI.
Now we use it, and we look at for the trends, and we connect to understand how the human behavior will impact their health. We can have prediction of what kind of vaccine we have to get and what's the amount. We have predictions of the bed usages in different hospitals. It's the way we can use it to facilitate and enjoy a different lifestyle. It's amazing. And also we understand that people are using it in the wrong way as well, but it has got lots of benefits. One of the other concerns, we talked about the energy, because it consumes lots of energy, and we start to see now, so people will say, so what's the difference? The difference is the operator of AI are private companies. So we start to see movement in large companies. They will go and acquire a nuclear plant or acquire a power generation plant. So imagine you have a company which will own a power generation plant because it wants to feed power to their data center. This is how the actual business will transform, because for the longest time power generation will be owned by government,
Yes.
not by companies. But major companies in the competition in the US, they either acquire companies doing nuclear plant, or all the nuclear plant, as I want to refurbish the nuclear plant. And the third company is trying to build a new nuclear plant technology, which is cellular. So the three major or the three main players, they are looking to secure their energy away from the government grid, which is a different way of running a business. Yes. So these technology companies will not be technology anymore because they will have this aspect of their businesses.
Well, it's a crazy world when it comes to technology and a lot of development, actually. Professor Dr. Wael Badawy, the Professor of Artificial Intelligence, that was so informative. I would like to thank you so much. Each time I learn more about this crazy world, thank you for giving me the opportunity today to delve in this world.
Thank you much, and I highly appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we came to the end of this episode. Promise we'll be back next week with more interesting topics. Until then, best regards from me, Shuruq Bakir.